Hey everybody, I'm here to talk about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Let's do it. So we open with Harry over the summer being miserable at the Dursleys, not getting any mail from anybody. And then finally, on July 31st, his birthday, we get this great bit of business with Dobby, the house elf. And Dobby is warning Harry to stay away from Hogwarts because he'll be in peril. And Dobby is doing that by intercepting the mail and making it look like nobody cares about Harry, that he's forgotten, that there's no reason for him to go back. So Dobby really wants to keep Harry from going back to Hogwarts. And Dobby is kind of like, well, he doesn't have free will, so he's sort of acting against his own interest. But he's trying to prevent Voldemort from returning to power by ensuring that Harry does not return to Hogwarts, because that's where Voldemort is going to strike again. He knows, although he doesn't know why he knows, that Harry's in great danger at Hogwarts. So it's pretty cool, even though Dobby, of course, is destined to fail in this. There's a great scene where Dobby intercepts the mail and then makes it look like the mail has sat there all summer. He polishes the boots until they gleam, shines the shoes until they're shiny. Just these ridiculous, absurd things, very funny. Then Dobby interrupts Aunt Petunia's big dinner party by landing on the table with a giant cake and then destroying it with a flick of his magic. That's right, he just destroys the thing. And then they figure out it was the house elf. And Harry is immediately blamed by the Ministry of Magic. That's how the Ministry of Magic works. If something goes wrong, it must be the fault of that half-giant Hagrid or that famous Tuadu boy, Harry Potter. That's what happens. And Harry is told that if he does magic outside of school, he will be expelled. And then the Dursleys try to lock up his books and his wand. Of course, they can't do that, and they lock him in his room, putting bars on the window. They turn Harry into a prisoner in his own room, which is pretty nasty, actually. But then Fred and George show up in the flying car. And, you know, we never really got a resolution to that car from the first movie. It's nice to see that they're able to still use it. And it's pretty interesting how they grow up. I mean, they're twins. They don't need two separate cars. They can just share one. So it's kind of cool to see them coming in and taking Harry out of there. Idea that Harry cannot go through the barrier onto platform 9 3/4 is one of the best, plot devices of the entire series. Establishing that magic isn't working for Harry anymore because he's afraid, because he's scared, because he's depressed. That's a great thing to establish. It's not simply that the magic has gone away, it's that the magic is a part of him. It's connected to his emotions and his courage and his determination. And if he loses that, he loses the magic, at least partially. It's a good way to start the second film, too, because it shows that things aren't right. There's something wrong, and we don't know what it is yet. So we're left wondering, as are they. What's happening? Why can he not get to Hogwarts? We meet Lockhart, who's supposed to be this great wizard. Of course he's not. He's probably the most sinister character in the movie, certainly in the book, because he's robbing other people of their glory. And then, of course, he erases Ron's memory and then gets his memory wiped. So he's really an awful guy. And we get some new characters. Neville Longbottom is now a third-year student. We get Peeves introduced. We get Hermione as a cat. We get Colin Clivery introduced as a kind of groupie for Harry. He's just around following him, trying to get his autograph and all that stuff. And of course, Ginny Weasley. Now, one of the fun things about this movie is figuring out the mythology. Every time you watch it, if you haven't read the book, you're going in cold. You're just seeing this stuff for the first time. So as far as fantasy movies go, I think it's a pretty rich world. So Ginny obviously has a crush on Harry, but we also see Ron's feelings developing for her. He gets jealous when Lavender Brown is talking to Harry. Now, Harry's response to having this huge crush on him is really weird, which is perfectly in keeping with Daniel Radcliffe's awkwardness. But it's really awkward, and it's not sexualized, it's just awkward. But it's funny because he's so uncomfortable with it. Lockhart is obsessed with Harry, too. He's just completely creepy about it. Oh, my dear boy, back off. Really, the whole thing is just really uncomfortable for everybody involved. And then Ginny is taken away and put into the Chamber of Secrets, and we don't know what's happened. And this sort of adds to the mystery of what is going on. Why can't Harry get to school? What's happened? Who is the heir of Slytherin? Why is Ginny in the Chamber of Secrets? All of these questions build on top of each other. Then we find out, of course, that it's Tom Riddle, and that's Voldemort, so it's great. You have this sort of unraveling of the mystery, but then it's replaced by another mystery, which is who is Tom Riddle? course, it's Voldemort, we find out. You know, the Basilisk is an interesting creature, and the idea that it can kill by looking at you, that is a great bit of business. And then, of course, Fawkes comes in and saves the day. Dumbledore knew that this was going to happen. Dumbledore knew that the chamber was going to be opened. That's why he sent Fawkes to Harry. And then, of course, you have the revelation that Dumbledore himself was almost a member of Slytherin. His parents were sorted into Slytherin. Could have been, but he chose to not be. And you know, there's a lot of moral ambiguity in this story. In fact, it's almost entirely moral ambiguity. There's no clear-cut bad guys, although, of course, you would think that Voldemort is the bad guy. He's not a clear-cut bad guy. He's got a very understandable motivation for wanting to get rid of Muggles, for wanting to have power. So there's a lot of great material in this book, and you know, it's a strange thing to say. Doors is probably one of the better movies of the series because it establishes so much of the mythology. The Chamber of Secrets is such a potent metaphor for all of the secrets in this world, for all of the secrets inside of us, for the things we keep secret, for the things we don't tell people, for the things we hide away. It's a wonderful metaphor for all of those things, and it's done beautifully. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.